I am speaking with Cantor Suzanne Hamstra. It is such a pleasure having you here for so many reasons. I'm just glad to have a chance to finally sit down and chat one-on-one.
Thank you. I am too. I'm so thrilled and honored to be here and glad we've got this moment.
So tell folks a little bit about your background. How did music first come into your life?
So the story goes that music first came into my life because I sang before I spoke. My mother was singing Old MacDonald with my older sister, and I was about 8 months old. And she heard from the crib where she thought the baby was sleeping, E-I-E-I-O, apparently in time and in tune. So there was no getting rid of it at that point. My family is a bunch of folk musicians, and my rebellion against the folk music was to go and become an opera singer. Until I realized that the life of an opera singer really was not for me. And I will always love the art, but I wanted to do something that let me use my whole self and all of my interests and all of my passions. And so what better way to do that than to use my voice to serve the Jewish people.
And talk a little bit about your Jewish background. What was it? Was there something growing up that drew you to cantorial practice?
So when you grow up a Jewish child who can sing, everyone tells you, you should be a cantor, you should be a cantor. And that makes it the last thing that you want to do, which is why I ended up pursuing opera. So my family is Reform. I grew up actually in an interfaith family, so my dad is not Jewish, and we grew up celebrating the Christian holidays with my dad's side of the family and all of the Jewish holidays with my mom's side of the family, and it really sparked in me an incredible passion for interfaith work, and I always felt such a deep connection throughout my childhood to Jewish tradition, to Jewish music, to Jewish culture, and really started pursuing it more deeply religiously when I was a college student. And it all flowed from there.
So you moved from La Traviata or Carmen into Kol Nidre.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And so what was that transition like? I mean, opera is known for singing in many different languages, and so is cantorial work.
It is. So, I love that I still get to sing in so many different languages. Mostly I sing in Hebrew and English now, but I get to sing in Ladino. This concert we're doing soon, I'm going to be singing a little bit in Ladino and in Farsi. It doesn't go away, and everything that I learned in opera serves me, and I just found there was so much more to learn in the cantorial tradition, in the Jewish world, in text, in all of it. And because I grew up in a folk music family and we do so much folk music on the Bima, I get to kind of draw from that background as well. And it's just such a delight and a gift.
So we can expect all kinds of musical genres coming in the months and years to come.
I dare say yes.
So for those who aren't familiar, talk a little bit about what cantorial school is like. What is the process? What how does that build your knowledge?
So in cantorial school, first of all, everyone who goes to Hebrew Union College in their first year is in Jerusalem. And so that first year is so much about an immersion in the Hebrew language. We are in Ulpan, which is modern Hebrew classes, 4 or 5 hours every day, and then also studying biblical Hebrew and learning Israeli culture and Israeli history, and sort of developing that connection between American and Israeli Jews, and really a strong relationship with Hebrew. And
Did you have that before, or you went in pretty much
I went
Aleph Bet?
Yeah, I could read the Aleph Bet. I could not read cursive, which I had to learn for for year one of cantorial school. I hadn't really learned any Hebrew since Hebrew school, and so I actually hired a Hebrew tutor to help me pass the entrance exam, because there's you have to place into a certain level before you can even start. And thankfully I'm pretty quick at learning languages, and so I was able to get there pretty quickly once I decided that this was the right path for me, and learned so much by being in that immersion situation.
Now, you talked briefly about the Slichot concert, which was your final performance in college,
right.
And talk a little bit about how these songs and sounds of the extended Middle East came to you.
Yeah. So in cantorial school, you study a ton of liturgy. You study a ton of Torah. You study a ton of Eastern European and Western European cantorial music. It's called chazanut. And you really immerse yourself in chazanut. And going into my 5th year and thinking about what my thesis project might be, I found myself thinking, I have spent the last 4 years getting this incredible in-depth training on the European Jewish traditions, but there's so much more to the Jewish world. I want to explore that more. I want to have an understanding and be able to share it of Jews who aren't from Europe by descent. And so ended up settling on focusing on the Jews of Morocco, Turkey, and Persia, because they are vastly different traditions and communities. Even though to a Western ear the music may sound the same, they're actually very different systems. And they all have such rich and long histories. And I really wanted to delve into it. I'm a huge history buff. And learning culture through history, I think, is something particularly beautiful. So I got to write this curriculum for adult education on these 3 communities as sort of an introduction to the broader Jewish world. And I also got to learn and sing a bunch of this incredible music that I'm so excited to share with Washington Hebrew.
So in addition to multiple musical genres, we have many traditions that will be coming. What are some of the other things you're hoping to bring to Washington Hebrew?
Oh gosh. Well, before I get to anything that I want to bring, there's so much already happening here that I'm so excited to get to be a part of. The education tradition here, and the musical tradition here, and the social justice history of this place, and the work that's happening to continue it with Sea Change, and just all of this incredible community. There are so many people here with so much to offer, and I'm so excited to get to partner with everyone, from the rest of the clergy team, who are just all-stars, to the entire staff here, who you, among all the others, are just such a gift and an honor to work with, and this incredible community that I am just starting to get to know. And it's going to take me a long time to get to know this whole community because it's so vast. But getting to partner with this community and hear what we as a broad community are excited about and passionate about, and find ways to facilitate that. Musically, culturally, spiritually, in the community, all of it.
All right. Well, you sound excited. I think we are all excited. Is there anything else that you want people to know about you as they try to get to know you in the coming months through services and such?
Oh gosh. Well, if you ever want to talk about baking or knitting, I'm your girl. Um, or hiking. I've got my indoors, be quiet and bake, and also my, get out and have an adventure side. So if you ever want to connect over those things, or just get together for a cup of coffee and talk about any of those things, I'll be thrilled.
And I guess we'll have to know favorite opera.
Oh gosh, I have to pick a favorite?
Can you? Yeah, top three.
Okay, top three. Verdi's Othello.
Mm-hmm.
Benjamin Britten's Turn of the Screw. Which is a little weird, but really wonderful. And just anything by Richard Strauss.
Okay. And I will take your other career then. Top three prayers, songs from the liturgy that you'd like to sing.
That's even harder. Favorite prayers changes depending on the moment and the mood and what prayer is speaking to me. I will say, for this month of Elul, one of the prayers that's or the songs that's in my head constantly is a version of Achat Sha'alti, which is excerpted from Psalm 27, which is traditionally recited first thing in the morning for the entire month of Elul in preparation for the high holidays. It's by Chava Mirel, and it goes, Achat sha'alti me'et Adonai, Achat sha'alti otach avakesh. And the text is, one thing I ask of you, Adonai, to dwell in your house forever. And getting ready for the high holidays, that one tends to sit in the back of my mind sort of always.
Cantor Suzanne Hamstra, thank you so much for taking the time today.
Thank you so much, Ori. What a pleasure.